hello, hello.
hello, hello. Welcome. Another episode of the Lion's Den podcast. Little midweek recap action. We're a little bit limited on personnel tonight and a little bit limited on apparently on where our podcast is reaching today for some technical logistical issues, but no matter. We're here to talk about everything related to Club Leon. Carlos and I are. That is. So let's talk some Club Leon, no matter what the circumstances. Carlos, how are we feeling tonight?
I mean, down to the wire, dude. And I don't know. I mean, we kind of backed ourselves into a corner. You know, some of these games,
to say the least.
To say the least. You know, we've been able to compete with the teams that we didn't think we were going to compete against, and we haven't beat the teams that we're supposed to beat. It's as simple as that. For me, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, and we've arguably played better on the road than we have at home. I think so. Our best matches of the season, our two best matches of the season for sure, were played on the road, and then coming back home against understated competition, we just can't seem to get the job done when we really need to. Like I can't recall. I think probably since the play-in match against Santos a year ago, have we really won a game where we really needed to win a game? Like when you go into this game saying this is a must-win, have we really done so since that play-in game a year ago against Santos, where the last time we actually made a Liguilla proper? Which you didn't even remember. I had to remind you that happened. You thought, because I mean our run in that Liguilla was not particularly. It wasn't a long run or anything like that. I understand.
It was a Santos game, right? That you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Santos game that qualified us for our last actual Liguilla a year ago. That's the last time I can really recall that you can say this is a must-win, and we got the win.
Yeah.
Since then, every time we've said that it has to be that's a must-win, I'm thinking, last game of the season against Juarez last season, if we won that game, we would have been in play-in. We drew. We were not in play-in. This one against Mazatlan, if we'd won that game, we would be in 10th place right now, needing only a draw likely to hold that spot against Monterrey, and that's simply not the case. And yet, I've been saying for the last few weeks, all I want is for there to be a chance to qualify for play-in on the last day of the season, and we have that. For better or worse, we have that. The other game in question that affects our fate will happen prior to ours, and so we will know by match start in Monterrey whether we still have a shot or not. But me personally, who will be traveling to the game, when I board my flight from El Bajío to Monterrey, we're still in it. By the time I arrive at the Estadio BBVA, technically we'll still be in it because the Atlas Necaxa match will not have ended yet. So that's really all I can ask at this point, because I'm committed. I'm going to the match. I'll be there. It was not a cheap flight, way more expensive than it usually is to fly up to Monterrey from here. I don't know why. It's not peak dates or anything like that. I have no idea why that is, but I'll be there. I'm committed, and all I ask is that on the day of the match, we still have a chance to qualify, and that is going to be the situation, for better or worse. It's the most difficult of all scenarios. We need to win, and we need Atlas to lose. We win, Atlas lose, we're in. Any other combination of results, and we're done until 2025.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Yeah. We're all Necaxa fans on Sunday, and they play right before us, right? They play right before us, so we're gonna know the result.
They play at 5. They play at 5. We play at 7. That is local Mexican time. I usually get to the stadiums about an hour early, so it'll be probably halftime of that match when I get to the BBVA, and Atlas surprised. They got a result, not a win. If they'd gotten a win, our season would already be over. But they got a result at home against a very, very blue Estadio Jalisco. If you looked at that match, it was almost all Cruz Azul fans. They invaded that stadium. It was pretty much a home game for Cruz Azul. And inexplicably, Atlas, who hasn't been playing well at all, that's the only reason we're even still in this fight. They've been playing terribly. They're the only team we've been chasing, really. They've been playing terribly, but they got a result. They got a draw against what is likely to go down as the best regular season team of all time in Liga MX.
Yeah.
which is painful to say.
Because we were there like a couple years ago.
Record for a few years. Actually, no, they held that record for a couple of years before this same Cruz Azul team tied that mark, did not surpass it. But now, I mean, unless something strange happens, I mean, there's a possibility that they will not surpass it. But it's likely that they will. And even if they don't, they're in the conversation for one of the best regular season Liga MX teams of all time.
Yep.
And Atlas got a result against them, which makes our lives more complicated, surprisingly so. I mean, it was a last-minute thing, too. I mean, Cruz Azul had that in the bag. Would have made our lives a lot easier. Such is not the case. Now we need a win. We need Atlas to lose. That's just the way it goes. Worst case scenario, but the worst case scenario would have been we're already out. Second worst case scenario is we're not out, but we need that combination of results, the most complicated combination of results possible.
Yeah, I mean, best case, Atlas loses, and we basically have our destiny in our own hands.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't put it past Necaxa to win that game. I mean, first of all, it's at Necaxa. It's a home game for Necaxa.
Oh, is it? I thought it was at Atlas.
I'm pretty sure.
Wait.
I'm pretty sure it's at Necaxa.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Estadio Victoria.
Yeah. And Necaxa gave San Luis a good fight. Drew 1-1 against them in this doble jornada. And San Luis, I think nobody would argue, is a far superior team to Atlas. And so I think there's a real possibility that Necaxa wins this game. I mean, anything is possible. Obviously, Atlas will be fighting for their lives, as we will be. And Necaxa's not really playing for anything. But, Mazatlan wasn't playing for anything. And they gave us a fight too. These strange things happen in these matches. So, I think I'm not ruling anything out. I'm still holding out hope as long as we're mathematically alive, which we are. And look, if Necaxa does get that win, it's game on. Like our two best played matches this season.
Toluca
and Tigres. Those were, both against top of the table teams on the road. Well, what is Monterrey? What is this match? It's against the top of the table team on the road.
Yeah.
With everything to play for. I think, especially if we're under the impression that we still have a chance to qualify, I think there's a chance for this to be a really, really exciting match, and a chance to possibly get only our second win in that stadium in its entire existence.
Oh.
Which I hate quoting that stat, but I've been there for most of them, and I remember that one win we got it was in the Apertura 2021 season where we made the final with Holland. It was a 1-0 golazo by Elias Hernandez in the first half, and we held on to get that 1-0 victory for the first ever win, and to this point only win in all competitions, because we did play one Copa MX match there back when it first opened. In 9 years of that stadium's existence, in all competitions, we've only registered one win. But these things change. For the longest time, we'd never gotten a win at Tigres, and then we got two in the span of about 5 years. So these things these stats are made to be crushed. These records are made to be broken. And if we've got something on the line, if we still got something to play for when that match starts, game on.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a weird season, dude. Like, we were at the bottom of the table at one point. I don't think we were ever last place, but I think we were like second to last. And now, like, we've been like building up this momentum, trying to get into play-in position. We haven't reached play-in position, and this is like literally the last chance that we have, and we just need things to go our way. And let's hope they do. I mean, let's hope they do. And hopefully we can give Guardado a nice little final game of the season. Hopefully, we can get in and he can continue his career. Because I know it came as a surprise to a lot of people that he announced his retirement today. A lot of people, I'm sure, probably. Well, yeah. I'm sure there's so many of our fans that are like, damn, I could have seen him one last time and against Mazatlan, and I wasn't there. So I'm sure a lot of our fans want to see him at least one more time.
Well, he got one golazo at least under his belt before he retired as a member of Club Leon against Querétaro in the previous match.
Yep.
So look, I mean, we can get into the Guardado if you want now. I mean, that's one of our big topics on the
Let's do
docket
it.
here. I'll just say so, his first season here was a disappointment. I would say that's not a hot take. I think his first season here, people expected a lot more of him. He was coming off still being a regular starter at Betis when he signed here. Yes, I mean, getting up there certainly, but still a starter in La Liga. That's nothing to sneeze at. That kind of player coming and joining our club, we expected big things from him. And that last season, I mean, first of all, he spent most of it injured, and when he did play, he just wasn't what we expected.
Yep.
And this season, he kind of found his form again. I mean, not maybe the elite player that he once was, but he was far more than serviceable. He was a good player for us. He's a big reason why we had this turnaround under Berizzo, I would say. I mean, the big reason why we're still even talking about being able to qualify for play-in on the last day of the season. He was a big part of that. He played very well.
He's been looking really good.
Yeah, he found his game again. And I'll say this, I can respect a guy, coming off that bad season that he had, finding his form again at his age. Who knows if that's repeatable. He might regress again, and I can understand and fully respect wanting to go out somewhat on top, while you're still while you still resemble the player that you were, because we've definitely seen the alternative. I don't want to bring up the story of Chapo Montes, but the guy wanted to keep playing when he probably shouldn't have. I mean, he'd had a great unexpected resurgence in the latter stages of his career, won a title. He probably should have let well enough alone, but he wanted to keep playing, and so he went and had a very nondescript, forgettable final go there at Everton in Chile, when he could have retired as a member of León when he was still on top of his game, and he didn't. And I think I can understand not wanting to go down that way. Like, if you have the option to go out while you're still on top, while you're still I understand that. We saw Nacho Gonzalez, they wanted him back after that great performance he had in the final in Apertura 2020.
Yeah, he said no.
Nacho Ambriz wanted him to come back for that Clausura 2021 season, and he's like, nope. You know what? I might be able to keep playing, but why? This is the best way to go out. I'm going out on top. I'm still, something resembling the top of my game. We just won a title. I'm going out like this. And I think something along those lines is what Guardado's thinking. Why run it into the ground? We've seen that, and it's not pretty.
Yeah.
So,
and it's not very common to see players go out with a fairy tale ending like that. Nacho Gonzalez fairy tale ending is like a super rare occurrence, especially in Liga MX. You know, that was a fairy tale ending. Guardado's probably not likely to get it with us unless somehow we make it into play-in and make a deep run.
Go on a magical run. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that's likely to happen. I think, you got to hang up the boots. There were rumors about him hanging up the boots earlier this season, which he refuted. He said, no, that's not true. I'm going to play my whole contract here. And now he flips the script again. What do you think happened?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I don't know.
2 weeks ago?
Was
it 2 weeks ago?
Behind the scenes. We're not behind the scenes with him. I'll bet he had a talk with his wife. And, he's like, look, maybe this is just a good place to end it. I think he's still going to have a career in football. I think he probably eventually wants to be a manager. I think he'd make a good manager.
Yeah.
Or maybe a commentator first. Who knows what his plans are? I imagine he'll stay in the game, stay involved in the game. But I'll bet he probably just, he probably had a talk with his family, and he's just like, you know what? It's time.
Yeah. I mean,
could be something as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, he did come off. I think it was injured. I think Romo was on the broadcast. He mentioned that he was holding his shin, something like that, his lower leg. I mean, maybe it's just the injuries that are piling up. Maybe he just doesn't, like you said, he wants to go out. With this form, and he doesn't want to be remembered as a player who went out with an injury. Maybe it's a good time to call it quits, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Guardado, man, legendary player. I'm glad he got to wear our jersey, defend our colors, but unfortunately, that's as much as we can say about him.
Yeah, I mean,
he ain't no Rafa Marquez, I guess.
I was gonna say, I was hoping it would be another Rafa Marquez situation, but unfortunately, that too was a very rare occurrence.
Yeah,
that him coming back and and winning a bicampeonato for his first titles in Liga MX ever in his life. He still had a little bit of a career. Actually, I mean, he played well enough in Liga MX that he got offers back in Europe after that.
Yep.
That didn't go very well for him. And then he obviously came back and played with Atlas for a little bit to end his career. But I mean, everybody understood that was a club that he came up with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing, he just had a moment of clarity, and he had a talk with his family, and he decided it was time.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing, no nos debe nada, I guess is what you can say. Another big news that came out, if you want to get into it, the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
Some legal issues about the Club World Cup. Apparently, la multipropiedad, and you can't have two teams going to the Club World Cup. Televisa was like, hey, what's going on?
You can't have two. Well, okay. So one issue is the supposed rule that in a FIFA competition, you can't have two teams owned by the same people.
Owner.
That you can't have two teams with the same owner in a FIFA competition.
Yeah.
Which, that is a topic worthy of discussion in and of itself. Yeah, I think for the most part it does make sense. But the underhanded way of Televisa to go in, and try to usurp our spots in this competition to have for their own club, America, to take the place of one of our teams is just so shady and underhanded. Obviously, not particularly unexpected given who we're talking about here.
Yep.
Completely expected, completely underhanded and slimy. And even the Martinezes went on record saying as much. I don't know if you saw that today. They gave a brief statement about the allegations and all of this, and they're like, that's just a really shoddy, slimy way to go about trying to get your team into a competition that they did not earn their way into on the field. That's just really, really shady. But I wouldn't put it past anybody to give them their wish. That's just the sad reality of the situation.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to look at León and Pachuca and say that they should be, from a mediatic money-making standpoint, just a publicity standpoint, nobody's going to sit there and say León and Pachuca should be in over them. But I do say it sends an awful message just to football in general, just the Liga MX, everybody involved, to take one of our teams out who legitimately earned their way into this competition on the field by winning what you need to win to get into this competition, and replacing it with a team that did not earn their way in. I think that would be shabby, that would be slimy, that would be disgusting, and it would really make me question my fandom and why we even follow this sport and this team more than anything probably ever had prior to that.
Yeah. I mean, logically, I would think they would even first of all, it doesn't make sense that you're going to kick a team out that earned it on the field. But if you had to, if there was no other choice, I mean, I would give it to El Subcampeón, bring in LAFC. Yeah. I mean, they earned their way to that final. They might have not won it, but for, the reasons that you mentioned, we have to be removed from the competition. Give it to LAFC, or give it to whoever played, who was it? Columbus Crew. Give it to Columbus Crew. Give it to one of these teams that actually earned it on the pitch and made it to that final. Yeah. Okay, maybe they didn't win it, but they earned it, right? By getting to that final. So give it to one of those teams. Don't just choose a random team from Liga MX.
Well, I mean, the other thing here is the darkest element of all of this is, the rumors are, well, there's several possibilities. They could take both of the group of Pachuca teams out, or they could take only one out. But if they took only one out, which of the two do you think it would be?
Of course, us. Of course, it's us.
Yeah, they're going to take us out. They're not going to take out. They would not take out Pachuca. Even though I would argue our path to winning the Conca Champions was more difficult than Pachuca's was. But
it wouldn't. It wouldn't make sense though.
We qualified prior to them, and our path was more difficult.
Yeah,
but.
And I would argue that we have more fans than they do here in the U.S.
We do,
which is where the competition is taking place.
Absolutely.
And I know a lot of people who would make it to all of those games. I don't know very many Pachuca fans that live out here.
Or how about we play each other for it? You know?
Ooh.
You know, how about they schedule just like the Copa Martinez, and we just play
Copa
it in
Mar-
I don't know, or how about a home and home, one match here, one match in Pachuca, and
Two leg- okay.
winner goes to the Club World Cup.
Hey, that's not a bad idea, dude. I actually like that.
Yeah, that's what I
that'd be
say.
awesome. That'd be awesome. That, I mean, it wouldn't happen. I don't think that they're
No,
gonna
it's
do
not
that.
going to happen.
It's never gonna happen. But
yeah,
I mean, this whole idea of kicking one team out or both teams is actually something that's on the table. I thought it was Humo at first. You said it was Humo at first.
it seemed to be Humo.
Yeah.
And I still believe they will come to an agreement with FIFA to have an exception just this one time and have both teams participate. I believe they will come to an agreement with FIFA.
Yeah. I mean, that's what should happen because both teams earned it.
Both teams earned it. And also, I think it's very important that neither team, how do I put this? It's not that the both teams did not participate in their respective Conca champions. When León won it, Pachuca was not involved in that competition. When Pachuca won it, León was not involved in that competition.
Yeah.
So it's not like, they had to beat their multipropiedad brother along the way. No, these were independent competitions that each one individually, the other was not involved.
Right.
So I think they can make an exception this once, and then for the next one, they have to sort this out.
Yeah, I was listening to Tribuneros right before we went live, and Tito Echeverri was like, a little weird that like the rumors of Leon being pulled out of the Club World Cup, and then Andres Guardado suddenly announces he's retiring. Like maybe that's why he wanted to be here for the next, what is it, half year, next 6 months. Maybe that's why he wanted to be here.
I don't think that's it. I don't think there's a correlation there. First of all, there hasn't been a ruling on what's going to actually happen with this anyway.
Yeah.
Like it could very well happen. It could very well be that that FIFA has decided that it will make an exception this one time, especially because this was only brought to light because Televisa filed a complaint.
Yeah.
Like you can't spring this on us like so close to when this is actually going to happen. When we've known we were qualified for this competition. We've known both teams were qualified for this competition for months now. Well, we've known León was qualified for over a year, for a year and a half. We've known Pachuca was qualified for what?
Couple
4
months.
months, three or 4 months.
Yeah, a couple months.
Yeah, this was something that they would have had to. I mean, for an organization that supposedly, the overarching organization that monitors football worldwide in the FIFA that has to have their T's crossed and their I's dotted. This was something they would have had to brought to our attention a long time ago. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like this is not something they can spring on us now just because Televisa filed a complaint. That's not this cannot work that way.
Yeah. And it kind of makes you think about the whole Televisa Grupo Pachuca wars that they had like a couple years ago. It's
absolutely
like maybe like FIFA didn't even care, or like nobody really cared, or just kind of went unnoticed that the same owner had two clubs going to the Club World Cup, and then here comes Televisa like, hey, you know what, we're gonna rat you guys out. Yeah. Maybe that's what's going on. Which is, I don't know.
It's shady.
Kind of shady, yeah.
Again, not unexpected, shady. But absolutely shady.
It is super shady.
Yeah.
Oh man. What else do we have on the agenda? We went over Guardado, Club World Cup, game against Rayados. What do we expect?
I mean, starting 11. I think I was hoping that Monterrey was going to be locked into a top 4 seed already, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So they're still going to be playing for something, which is unfortunate.
That's true. They're actually tied for 4th with Pumas at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But so they also have to win, because if America wins, they're out of the Directa, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're going to qualify directly, but they won't necessarily be in a top 5 seed, top 4 seed, I should say.
Well, if America win and San Luis win and Monterrey lose, they're actually out of the top 7. Yeah,
Are they?
they would be 8th. They would be 8th. Yeah. So, if we needed anything else against us, any more odds against us,
they're still going to be playing for something.
Yeah, they have to win. They have to win if they want to qualify within the Liguilla Directa.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so what do we expect? Like starting 11, because we did see some shuffling this past game against Mazatlan. Like a lot of people are complaining, why didn't you keep the same starters? What's going on? And then we saw 2 penalties being
short turnaround. There had to be some rotation. I know people want to see the same, but that's just not realistic. There had to be a little bit of rotation. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you were saying, yeah, but half the starters are still there. Yeah. And the half that were still there had really heavy legs. You could tell.
Yeah. I mean, not heavy enough to you can't, that's not a good excuse for missing the penalties or for missing a wide open.
It's not a good excuse for missing the penalties. No, that should have been a 2-0 win. You know, we should have made both those penalties and should have been a 2-0 win. I will say we didn't have like a lockdown penalty taker on the pitch. I mean, yeah, Jonder was for a time our league leading, you know, in the conversation for campeón de goleo striker, but he hadn't taken a penalty, an in-game penalty. I don't remember if he took one in the shootout against Colorado in Leagues Cup. I don't think so. I don't remember.
Did he? I don't remember either. He might have.
I mean, neither of those guys had taken an in-game penalty. I guess we hadn't been given an in-game penalty all season, had we?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Not that I can recall. I don't think we'd been given an in-game penalty all season. Last season we got a whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
and Viñas was just. I mean, that's when you want to have Viñas in that situation.
Yeah, that's when you want to have Viñas or Mena.
Or Mena.
Up Mena.
Course. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just so strange. Like 2 players who you can make a good case that they've been our 2 best players all season, Cádiz and Mendoza. They're 2 best players, and they both miss. And it's not like they miss by like an inch or 2. No, they just missed terribly, like badly.
They weren't saved. It's not like they were saved. You know, it's not like the keeper guessed the right way. They just.
That's why there's people like, hey man, something needs to be investigated here. You can't miss that badly when you're in trying to qualify into play-in. What's going on?
It should have been a 2-0, a fairly easy 2-0 win. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it just wasn't.
Mazatlan missed a few chances too, a few sitters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it should have been a lot. I'm gonna say closer, but if it was a 2-0, in favor of us, it should have been at least 2-1 for them because they missed a few sitters.
Yeah.
No excuses though. I mean, we got to win. We got to win against Rayados, and what do you expect? Like, what do you think? Cádiz starts, Mendoza, like these guys that missed horrible shots. Like, do they start? Is that what we need right
you
now?
Don't.
Because
you don't bench a guy for missing a penalty. You don't bench a guy for missing a penalty because the penalty is not something you can count on in the course of a game. I mean, you're not putting in those guys for their penalty taking abilities.
True.
You're putting in those guys for everything else they bring.
True, but it's fair to say Plátano was in better form leading into that game, and he's playing his ex-team, so maybe there's a little more.
Yeah, but he started and gave everything against Toluca. I mean, it's not just that you had to rotate because you played 2 matches in a week. That Toluca game took everything out of these dudes. That was a hard-fought game, which they deserved more out of.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't do a show to recap that match, but like, I don't want to rag too much on Poncho Blanco. Like, I would sit Poncho Blanco over sitting. I would sit him for his error against Toluca more than I'd sit Mendoza and Cádiz for missing those PKs.
Right.
And yet, I just don't think. I mean, I think he's got that spot locked down. I don't think there's any inkling of of making a change in the porteria, at least not this season.
Yeah. So what do we expect? So who do we expect to start against Monterrey?
I would expect the lineup we saw against Toluca. The starting lineup we saw against Toluca.
Yeah. I think I agree. I think that's probably the best lineup that we have.
I mean, maybe you could. We've already gotten our minutes for our juveniles minutes, so maybe you could sub in Ivan Moreno if you wanted. But I think we're going to see something pretty closely resembling our lineup against Toluca, which I think has been our most successful lineup as of late. Was that same lineup against Querétaro also? No.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be crazy, man, if I probably shouldn't put this out there, but Paul Velon has been writing 4 yellows for like the past 5 games, right? Mm-hmm. One more and he gets suspended. Wouldn't it be crazy if like Atlas loses, we win, and Paul Velon gets that yellow, and then he misses the first game of the play-in?
I mean, I
if he has to pick it up and we win, I would trade that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I mean, and you have to.
That's a good trade-off.
Who would we likely play? Chivas or whoever we played? I mean, I think we got to be able to do it without him.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is Chivas.
It would likely be Chivas in that 9-10 matchup. Yeah.
In Guadalajara.
In Guadalajara.
Oof. That'd be a hell of a game to watch.
Yeah.
More entertaining than. Oh wait, no. Atlas Guadalajara is more mediático, I guess. So, I don't know. We might get acuchillados on Sunday.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. What else do we have? Anything else that we have to talk about before we go into prediction time?
Not really. Kind of short and sweet this time. I mean, it's just it's very very straightforward.
Very
situation
straightforward.
Of the team right now.
Not a lot of opinions.
It is and it isn't. The situation with the Club World Cup is anything but straightforward, but we don't really have much more information on that right now.
Yeah. I'm sure
we're just going to have to kind of wait for by the next time we pod. Hopefully, they'll have some kind of resolution there. I'd like to think that they'll find a way to, for just this once, have both teams participate, but we'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully, next time we pod, we'll be in play-in and we'll have some good news surrounding the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
All right, get your predictions ready. I haven't seen anybody in the chat, man. We're only on YouTube. We're not on Twitter or Facebook, and that's like where most of our people come from.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
No worries. All right, let's go into prediction time. I know a lot of people are going to listen to this on Spotify, so all good. Let's go into prediction time and that's such an old clip. You got to make a new one, dude.
I know. Had the opportunity.
All right. Predictions. Rayados versus León.
Yeah, man.
What do we think?
This is a tough one.
It's a tough one because it could go either way.
Well, and it totally also depends on. Well, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe Berrizzo's going to be like, look, we're not going to we're not going to see what the result of the other match was before we go and play. We're just going to go play our game. We're no phones allowed. I'm not allowing you to know. I'm not allowing you to know what the result of that other match is because that's going to affect how you play.
Yep.
But if for some reason we don't get the result we need from that Atlas Necaxa game, and they find out about it, then I mean I'm tempted to predict a loss. And I would never predict a loss. I never have predicted a loss, but I'd be tempted to.
The first time you're going to predict a loss?
I'm not going to predict the loss. I'll say if we don't get the result we need from the first match and the team finds out about it, I'll predict a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. Okay.
If we do get the result we need, I'll predict a 2-1 win.
2-1 win.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So I guess we're doing double predictions tonight, and I guess we kind of have to. Because
it's not going to be the same game if we don't get that result. If we don't get a favorable result out of that Necaxa.
That's true.
Match.
That's true. But like, how do you keep these guys away from their phones and monitors and stuff like that?
I don't think you can.
Yeah, I don't think you can. All right, so okay, so if we don't get the result that we need, I'm gonna say 2-2. 2-2. You know, Rayados are known to be a pecho frio team, and they're gonna give us 2 opportunities to score. 2-2. If we do get the result, man, I'm tempted to say 2-1 too. Yeah. I mean, I just don't know if we're gonna. No, their defense can be a bit weird of times. They can leave a lot of gaps. Let's go 3-2. Let's go 3-2, Leon. 3-2, Leon, because it's gonna come down to the wire. It's gonna come down to the wire. 3-2.
All righty.
It's gonna be like that. It's gonna be like that legendary performance by Monarcas. You remember this game where Raúl Ruiz Diaz, in like the last 10 seconds of the game, in order to keep Monarcas from
relegating. He saved them from relegation. Yeah, back when relegation was still a thing.
One of the most emotional games I've ever seen. That's what it's gonna be like.
They cut to there's a whole crowded gathered in the Plaza Principal in Morelia. They cut to them and everybody was going nuts. Yeah, I remember that. I can't stand Raúl Ruiz Diaz because he burned us both as a member of Morelia, and he's burned my timbers countless times as a member of Seattle Sounders. But yeah, that was a great moment for sure.
Great moment, yeah. Hopefully we can relive that moment as Leon fans.
Yeah.
All right, man.
I will say Rayados does tend to screw up a lot in big moments, especially at home.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like they're like pecho frios, like I said. You know, they have so many egos on that team, so much talent, and everyone wants the spotlight. You know, and it's hard to manage a team when you have that many stars and that many players that want the spotlight.
Yeah, I still can't imagine Fidel Ambriz wanting to go there, but that's another story.
I don't think he wanted to go there. If you had asked me personally, I don't think he wanted to go there.
Well, he said he did. He said they gave him the choice, and he said yes.
Well, I mean, what was he supposed to say? No. It's one of those politically correct answers where he has to say, "Yeah, this is where I wanted to go." But I think realistically, he wanted to go to Europe.
Yeah.
The money just wasn't there. All right, dude.
Yeah. All righty.
Any last words? Any last thoughts before we get out of here? This was a short one. 40 minutes.
It was.
We didn't get to 40 minutes.
Yeah. No, we should not be in this position. You know, we're not, as Kari said in the chat a couple days ago, you know, is this who we are? A team that's fighting for scraps like this?
Exactly.
You know, realistically, this is not who we should be, but this is who we've been the last couple of seasons. You know, our play in Liga, our Liga MX play has been excruciatingly subpar the last couple of seasons. It was, you know, favorably masked a little bit by that amazing Conca Champions run and qualifying for the first Club World Cup. You know, all that stuff that, you know, those were milestones and firsts and magical moments for our club. And that's masked how poorly we've really played ever since making the final in the Apertura 2021. Our play
against Atlas.
Since that final against Atlas, our play in Liga MX has just not been good. It has not been good. You know, we've had these moments that have masked it, but it's not been good.
Yeah,
and it's not where we want to be. They have to figure this out. You know, we are we're not going to always be. We just don't have the buying power to have a roster that's always going to be a top 4 seed or anything like that. But we should never be outside the top 8.
Yeah,
you know, we should never be a club that is fighting to be in the top 8. We should always be and at a minimum in that 5 to 8 range.
5 to 8.
And then, you know, every few seasons we get in the top 4. But that we should never be a team. We should always be a protagonista. We should never be a team that's fighting just to be in a 10th place and get that last play-in spot that didn't even exist a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We should not be fighting for scraps, and it's very, very frustrating.
Yeah. Mínimo, we should be a dark horse. Mínimo.
Yeah.
We should not be. We don't belong at the bottom with the Juárez's and the Pueblas and the Mazatlans.
No,
that's a different.
Atletico San Luis should not be consistently having better seasons than we are in Liga MX play. I'm sorry, they just shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You know, Atlas should not be having better seasons than we are in Liga MX play. You know, this is not how things should be.
It's not how things should be.
Yeah.
But it's how they are at the moment.
Yeah.
And we'll be back in the next episode. And hopefully we can give a rundown of, like, I don't know, player grades, coach grades, what we expect for the future, any new signings any positions we should fill. You know, I really think our midfield, especially with Guardado leaving, maybe we need a new midfielder in there. Maybe Cabral, who can't even travel to the U.S. Like, we're speaking about the Club World Cup, and we don't even have a number 10 that's going to play at the Club World Cup. So, like, maybe that's a position that we want to sign a player for.
Well, I mean, I think it's time to sign a new South American contención along the lines of Pedro Aquino and
Perro.
and Perro Romero. Yeah,
Yep.
like along the lines of those two. But I'll say this one last thing. If we do find a way to squeak into this play and watch out, I think we have an opportunity to sneak into Liguilla and be the team nobody wants to play.
Oh yeah, I mean, the way we played against Toluca and Tigres, like, these big teams better watch out. If we get in there,
and Renato Paiva even said he would love to play León in the final. You know, he said that. He said that. I think, I don't remember if it must have been after the match against León. No, I think it was before even, because he recognized how well we've been playing lately. But for a team like Toluca, they've got a real shot to play in a final. You know, for him to say that, maybe he was just pandering, but he did say that.
Yep.
I mean, I think if we make the play in, we got a chance to make Liguilla, and watch out.
Watch out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. If we make it into Liguilla, watch out. Watch out for this Fiera. And I hope luck is on our side on Sunday. I hope the football gods are on our side.
Luck hasn't been on our side for a long time. So we're due.
Yeah, we're due.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, let's get out of here.
All right.
Everyone who's listening, everyone who's watching, we apologize for the technical limitations. We were only able to stream on YouTube tonight. The chat is pretty empty, so there's nobody to shout out. But hopefully next time we're here, we'll have a lot of you guys in our chat dropping comments and opinions. But for tonight, we're going to go rest. And Sunday night, I hope we're all super happy, and we'll be back next week on another episode of the Lions Den podcast. Thank you for joining us.